Hello, and welcome to another episode of Time of Day, the Transatlantic wargaming podcast brought to you by the people at Break for Assault. I'm Lee Parnell, recording from somewhere in the south of England, and as ever, I'm joined by my co-host Mike from sunny LA. Mike, is it sunny in LA?
No, we've entered our traditional 3 weeks of winter here in Los Angeles, and it is reasonably cloudy. One
All
might
right.
even say springtime in the United Kingdom.
Oh, the leaves are brown, the sky is grey.
The leaves are gone, but the sky is ever so slightly gray.
Oh well, yes. I was so caught in the good weather because we actually got to meet up recently, didn't we?
Yes,
But an hour or so because that's
an
most
hour
like
or so.
before I
We
rushed to
met
the
for
airport.
coffee in a hotel lobby, basically, but
I didn't appreciate quite how far away the hotel was from you. That's one city. How far can it be, right?
it was less than an hour. That's standard Los Angeles driving distances.
I
I
know.
don't know what you're so upset about.
I feel I put out because you travel an hour in the UK, you cross several counties, that kind of thing.
Right, right, but we actually built a bunch of roads. You guys
Yeah,
just widened horse paths and went bish bosh.
those roads are built by fine Roman engineers, and they've served us well ever since. Built to last.
Uh,
But
One
yes,
day we'll relearn the secret of Roman concrete.
yeah. But hopefully, like I say, next time I get over, we'll actually have a bit more time because it was a bit of a rush job.
Yeah, because
Um,
I wanted to drag you to Brookhurst Hobbies and
mhm.
just load you up with stuff to just bury Eddie because they have so many model kits at Brookhurst.
Oh wow, yes, that would be. I mean, as it was, I managed to get my stop by Barnes and Noble and get my copy of their Blitz Bowl, which you can get in the US.
Ah,
So I now have my copy of Blitz Bowl. Well, second edition. I had a copy of the first edition. Eddie brought over, but he had to ditch the box key around the space in his bag. So I just got this like jiffy bag full of all the bits and pieces. But I now have a boxed copy of Blitz Bowl in its second edition. So
excellent, excellent.
but yeah,
Oh,
it was good. It was like I say, all too brief, but hopefully I shall be back that way soonish with work. So.
hopefully.
I'll tack on an extra day or something to get a bit of game time in, which would be nice. But
You're
yeah,
gonna be saddened with the quality of my paint jobs compared to yours if we manage
but
to get a game going, but still.
I try and make up for paint jobs to lack up for game talent. That's it. So what have
I
you
don't
been
have
up to
either talent.
What have you been up to game wise recently? What have you been playing?
Um, I've been playing boats of various varieties. I've been playing Victory at Sea,
Hmm.
and I've been playing Star Wars Armada.
Oh, okay.
Classic. I like boats. Aside from that, I haven't had a chance to get any flames in the last month or so, but I was fairly regularly getting games in with a mate. We were playing. He was playing Germans, and I was playing my Soviets,
Okay.
and then we just kept increasing the number of points at the point we were playing like 150 point games, but he's running King Tigers and I'm running IS2, so it all just kind of comes out in the wash anyway.
Hmm.
But I
Good.
haven't gotten any Team Yankee in a while, and I'm feeling the itch.
I was saying this the other day. We played lots of with all the warfare practice, been playing lots of Flames of War. So I want to try and get
Hmm.
some Team Yankee in again. Like I said, I'm painting my US Marine Corps up at the moment. So I've got the labs and the M109s up on the pin. Well, why are you hunting for labs if you not get the US Marine Corps? I mean,
For
honestly.
Australians.
Oh, you do
What
it
do
for
you mean?
Australians. Okay.
What do you what
But Good Laugh Company, I remember now. Yes, sorry.
Yes. God. I would never stoop so low as to play Marines. Ugh. Just play the Australians, all the same kit, but funnier.
Yes. And Call a Camo. That's much better. Um, cool. Yeah, I must forget my Aussies. I haven't used them for a while. Might do that. Try and get a game in at some point. Play the Australians again. Play with some leopards.
Yeah, I mean, fans of this show will remember we got uh Lexi and I got you real hyped on the Aussies, where you broke your "I don't believe in the Australian should be in the NATO book"
I mean,
stance.
I was wavering because the combination of Lavs and M1A1s. I think you two just pushed me over the edge to actually committing to it as a project, which then got ruined by the fact I still, after almost a year, have not found my Milan, the two blisters of Milans I bought. So the whole project came to a screaming halt because I couldn't get the infantry done, which is a bit annoying. But I have no idea where I put them.
Ba 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 ba.
But yeah, no, the last thing I heard was is that you Lexi and I gave you the last little push.
You
Oh,
did,
you
yeah,
can't find your Milan teams. That's what it was. Yeah.
correct, yeah. So I bought two blisters. I only really need one. I misunderstood how many Milan teams were in a blister. So I need to find one of the two, and I can finish the project off. But I can't find them anywhere. I still swear because I gave to my wife to wrap up for Christmas because they're meant to be a Christmas present. I
Mhm.
swear what's happening is I think they got put in the rubbish and got thrown out. It's the only thing that makes sense as to why I cannot find them at all.
Or Eddie, famously missing a Milan team, has stolen yours and it's lost in his.
Carl Gustav, he's missing his Carl
Oh, he's
Gustav
missing
teams.
Carl Gustavs. Never
Having
mind,
now
I'm wrong.
seen one of his storage depots, I can understand why.
Edit in a picture. Edit in a picture of one of Eddie's
Unfortunately,
storage.
I did not take a photo. What I'll do is I'll put an artist representation of what it looked
Oh
like
my
here.
god. The picture of how many boxes he has directly over his desk.
It's so beautiful.
Worries and tickles me to no end because I'm like, this man is literally gonna do the meme of man crushed to death under unused boxes of miniatures.
It's that minute when I have to start wondering if it understands what the different types of rule plugs you put into the wall are actually mean. Whether it's just use a cheap cheap low bearing set in there, whether you actually use big beefy ones, because there's a lot of weight on those shelves. But yes,
Uh,
it's already collapsed once. There's precedent here for those going.
oh my god.
But yeah, but the actual storage unit was just like behold. It just opened this like storage locker and just like pile. It's like a tiny little crawlway between these various stacks of like plastic boxes, model kits.
Oh my god. How has
Yes,
his wife not murdered him at this point?
although I think because it's not actually in the house, so it's
Oh, I suppose.
out of sight, out of mind. It's a wonderful thing.
Oh my god. He's gonna be the cause of like one of the greatest episodes of like Storage Wars ever seen.
Hmm. Storage was. I'll try and remember the name of the show. I was gonna say, I'm gonna go and find up a screenshot from the show and put it in there. That's the representation of his locker. But yeah, so anyway, what are we talking about tonight, Mike? What has
Uh,
brought us together?
well,
Apart from coffee,
uh,
overpriced
ba-
hotel coffee.
overpriced hotel coffee indeed. Uh, Battlefront has put out a couple of special edition limited run army sets.
Hmm.
For uh, oh my god. I want to say a bridge too far, but that is not what the operation was actually called.
Market Garden.
Market Garden for
Yeah.
Market Garden and Bulge.
Hmm.
So I hope you guys are ready to look at 3 boxes of different kinds of paras.
We say different kinds. Two of them are remarkably similar, apart from the actual models used.
Well, sure, but one of them is British. The
Yes.
other two are American paras. Anyway, uh, let's go ahead
The
and
tier
do a
list.
yes.
We've taken on board some of the feedback on the tier list, so we've been playing around, trying to make it look bigger on screen. Yeah, there we
Forever
go.
trying to improve the quality of the show.
Hmm.
We've only been at this a year. We're still new and dumb at this.
I
This
think
this
it's
is
two
this
years
will
now,
be
isn't
episode for
it?
what, 15?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm looking
Not
up.
that many episodes. Anyway,
Hmm.
we have the 6th Airborne Division. We have the Panzerlehr.
Hmm.
Wait, nope, hold on. We've
No
already done the
Panzer.
Panzerlehr. This should be the 26th Volkssturm. I have made a mistake.
High professional quality of presentation as
High
always.
professional quality. One moment.
Fine, I'll edit this out. It can be the hidden track.
Oh god.
We'll start from the top.
Every time. I see what I've done wrong. The code is 26 Panzerlehr, and I put it right next to 26 Volks.
Aha. 21st Panzer, 26 Volks. It's in the 20s.
All right. The more we improve, the more I continue to make the same mistakes. So we're not actually doing the Panzer. We're doing the 26 Volks.
Hmm.
So, shall we start with Market Garden?
Yeah, so these were actually marketed as being Normandy / Market Garden. Um,
Well, yes, it's because they neglected to remember that armor was a part of Market Garden.
yes.
They just released 2 Airborne boxes and they went Market Garden.
Well, also,
Where are the Churchills?
yes.
The what? The
But also
tanks.
the tanks, yes, Shermans and Cromwells. But also the problem we got is the British box is marketed as being 6 Airborne, which are the guys who dropped on D-Day, not 1st Airborne, who are the guys who dropped on Market Garden. So, but obviously 82nd is 82nd. They do both larger A
Yes.
grade changes. So, but yes, there's going to be a crossover point between their Normandy releases and the Bulge releases, effectively.
Yes, but they do use the Bulge Frost Airborne formation for this box.
Yes, yes, they do.
I know exactly why Lee is groaning about this, but
We'll get to it in a sec.
to run it
Spoilers.
down, you will get a pair of company HQ. You'll get 2 full platoons. 7 Brennan smelly rifles, 2
Mhm.
Piats, a 4-strong Vickers section, 3 3-inch mortars, 2 6-pounder anti-tank guns, 4 pack 75s, and 4 17-pounder guns. In addition, you'll get the metal Colonel Frost, Major
Mhm.
General Roy Urquhart,
Cuts, yeah.
General Stanislaw, and Major Allison.
Mhm.
Digby Tandem Warn.
Proper British officer compound name there going on.
Yeah. You get a couple objectives, destroyed German howitzer,
Mhm.
a supply cart. You'll get some dice and some tokens.
Yeah. So you can see it's all branded as 6 Airborne, but dice are 6 Airborne, but all the Market Garden metal warrior figures. And as the organization is basically, as you said, the Frost one, because you've got 2 6-pounders and you've got 3 mortars, which are both unique to the Frost Airborne division. Whereas a D-Day paratroop platoon would have 2 or 4 6-pounders, and then 2, 4, or 6 mortars. And that's kind of my issue with this box. In that it's very hard to upgrade for mortars and the 6-pounders, because 6-pounders comes in a box of 4. You can't fit them in threes, I recall. It's either 2s or 4s. Same the mortars, you can like buy a whole mortar platoon. So if you want to use these for D-Day, you're gonna have to basically find somehow 3 mortars to bring up to a full 6 section, which is always quite cool. I do rate the 6 mortar section. And then find 2 6-pounders to then flesh out their 6-pounder platoon. The rest of the contents are pretty solid. Apart, I don't really favour the toe 17-pounder. I think I mean I play air landings, so I have 2 6-pounder platoons. That's bringing like 8 guns to battle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I mean it's not a bad box. It's just let down by being the Frost one, which is less flexible. You can only really use this as the Frost parachute platoon, or sorry, company.
Yeah, it's slightly unfortunate. Obviously we could never put this in buy 2 because you'll never need this amount of parachutes. I will say, as Battlefront has put this out here, this whole box comes out to 67 points.
Hmm.
So you could quite
Yeah.
easily still get, a support platoon of Churchills or some Comets or something,
Hmm.
Cromwells, to flesh out the rest of that Market Garden feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can go for, I mean, they've got the various other units you can have in a 6 Airborne, like for cheap metal, they're cheap guys, yeah, Royal Engineers. Put 2 Royal Engineers in with a flamethrower and all that's always quite handy. And like I say, it's nice. You got the, I think you get a decent saving. I'm buying all the bits separately. I must admit, I haven't worked this one out. But all the actual additional bits like supply canisters, wounded figures, warrior figures, all kind of cool. All nice to have.
Yeah, the thing that really gets me though
Mhm.
is that they've got the 17 pounders in this box.
Hmm.
And if you run it out of D-Day, the 17 pounders are in formation.
Yes, we are, but not in the actual Bulge book. In the Bulge book, I think they're part of the force diagram. He says, try and find the book. But definitely not in formation, put it that way. You're right. I think they are on the actual force diagram.
Yeah, so you
Well,
are
no,
going to
we just
unfortunately.
have standard 17 pounders. There are no airborne 17 pounders in the Bulge book.
So I will say in the D-Day one,
Mhm.
the mortars, yeah, they're 246. However, the 6 pounders, you can just run 2 6 pounders.
You can. I wouldn't want to, but you
I
can.
wouldn't want to, but it is theoretically an option. So
Yeah.
being
And you
one
could run the
mortar
mortars as a 2 mortar tube.
short,
Hmm.
you can still run this as a D-Day formation and have a little bit of a better time of it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
obviously the Pack 75s are in formation for both of them.
Hmm.
Uh, the machine guns, obviously, the paras. These are just the standard ones, right? They're not the metal paras.
I believe these are just standard soft plastic paratroops.
Mhm.
The sort of second generation soft plastics. Really, obviously not as bad as the first gens, but still a long way from hard plastic.
Yeah, actually, they are the Siocast.
Hmm.
Um, us- uh, the casualties, the heroes, all that stuff, they are metal. Everything else is Siocast and plastic.
Correct. Yeah, the guns themselves be plastic, the crews be Sinocast.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
it's not so.
howitzer is technically resin and metal. The howitzer objective,
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, cool. Yes, because it has metal
because
barrels.
the gun barrel is metal.
Yeah.
The rest of it is single
Mhm.
cast. Uh,
So yeah, I mean, so when you look at it on the actual tier list, I think it's flawed choice. You can definitely use it as a starter. You can feel like you say, everything's usable. It's just a little suboptimal because of their undersized 6 pounder and mortar platoons.
it's not that many points. We're not going to bother going over value for money. I think last time established that like once you take into account all the extra special bits, this is actually immense value for
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
Um, I am hovering between flawed and solid because it does plug in quite well into the D-Day parachute company. But that
Mhm.
being said, like the awkwardness of specifically, I think the mortars kind of do it because the 6 pounders you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah. I think this that's the only reason I go flawed choice. It's just because it's very awkward. But also make those numbers up later as well.
I think that's
Mhm.
that's fair. So then I suppose we should move on to the 82nd,
Yep, makes sense. It's the other one of the Market Garden / Normandy boxes.
right? So for the 82nd Airborne, you'll get an HQ of 2 Thompson teams, 2 full platoons of parachute rifle platoons,
Hmm.
including the extra bazooka and the light machine guns, 4 stands of mortars, 4 Pack 75 howitzers, 4 57 AT guns, and 4 50 cal jeeps. On top of that, you get General Gavin, General Taylor, Major Cook, Lieutenant Turnbull, and some Pathfinder teams, some supply carts. You definitely get a bunch of nice things.
Hmm.
And obviously, once again, only these special models in the box are metal. Everything else is plastic.
Yeah. One thing I
You
just
of course get
noticed.
the You get the 80-second objectives and dice as well. That bright red, the same objectives as the 6 para.
You also get I just noticed you got this with the frost in the other one. You get the command card for one of the for the Lieutenant Turner
For the
Turnbull.
characters included, yes. I
Yes.
did not mention that, but it is the same in the Frost,
Yeah.
in the 6th and the 82nd. You get Turnbull and all those other heroes that
You
are
only get
included in the
Turnbull. The
box.
others don't actually have a command card.
Do they not?
No. And the same you only get the frost card in the British book.
You know what? You're right, because I do remember running Turnbull in my Firestorm Airborne or Normandy campaign.
But yeah,
But it's nice that they threw in a single command card.
yeah. And for the guys, actually, I think they've thrown the one for the actual ones that actually appear as a stand in the game. The other ones, I think, are command cards, but they're more of a effect rather than a warrior team. Off the top of my head, could be wrong. But yeah, so all that stuff's information, if I remember right, isn't it? That's all information. The actual
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This should all be information. Let me double check very quickly.
And again, everything's a full size platoon. Because I think the American mortars only go for 4s rather than 6s. So yeah, it's
They do note this as a parachute rifle company, which is the D-Day formation, because the Bulge one is called a Bastogne rifle company. That being said, the formation is completely and utterly unchanged, with the exception of the Bastogne has the option of switching out the Pack 75s for Glider 105s.
Right.
In formation.
And
but
I think
aside from that,
slightly higher morale as well. I think.
Yes.
But formation wise, it's more or less the same. And it's a well-run formation. You got 2 templates, 2 big size platoons.
Slight change is that you have the option in D-Day, it's 2 or 4 57s. In Bastogne, it's 2, 3, or 4.
Okay, that's handy.
You can save the 3 points and have one less gun.
But for how expensive Airborne gets, I mean, because I think when you put all this together, it's 71 points.
Ooh.
So
it gets more expensive if you do the Bastogne ones, that's for sure, because these are
but just looking just looking at 80 seconds, since that's what we're talking about right now. I think when I totaling all the points they had there,
it comes up to 71. Yeah.
And that includes having the 2 light machine guns in.
Yes.
And extra bazooka. Was that what comes already cooked in? I can't remember now.
I believe the bazooka is, you have the option of buying a second bazooka, right?
Right.
So it comes base 1 mortar, 1 bazooka. You can buy the second bazooka and the 2 LMGs.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so we got all those extra bits in, which is really handy. And at 71 points, he's still got enough thing to squeeze in, some Shermans for having it as a relief unit. Or tank destroyers.
Cool, Hellcats.
Hellcats.
Yeah. Hellcats with HVAP. Let's go.
Get some Thunderbolts in as well, because they're always reliable tank killers as well. Certainly, self-propelled gun shredders, as Duncan keeps proving with his Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's a solid box. It's only made better by the fact you get all those extra goodie bits in as well.
Yes, there's very little to complain about. It works for both versions of this. And of course you can you can't actually, because the glider you're supposed to use the traditional American infantry for.
Yeah, at this point in the war, they're still using like proper GI uniforms. They start standardizing later towards bold era.
Right, but in either case, right now, for the formations that you're supposed to use these models for, you can easily pick either or.
Yeah.
So I think Solid Starter is a perfectly reasonable place to stick it.
Absolutely. You wouldn't buy 2 of them, but a Solid Starter, absolutely.
So do you want to do the Volks, or do you want to just run into the comedy that is the 101st?
I think we should do the comedy that's 101st, just simply because.
Stop me if you've heard this before. 2 Thompson HQ, 4 mortars, 4 75 pack howitzers, 4 57 AT guns, 2 fully maxed out parachute rifle platoons, and 4 airborne recon jeeps. Plus, of course, the heroes, Lieutenant Spears,
Mhm.
Captain Winters, Captain Nixon, Sergeant Lipton, Private Rowe, Corporal Powers. You get some Tokoa Sergeant teams. You get some more fun objectives. You get a Destroyed Panther, and what's that other one? Oh, you get is that an Easy 8 by the looks of it?
No, it's it's an easy. Sorry, you're right. It's an easy
Yeah.
8. Yeah,
You get an Easy 8 objective. Uh, and
but
these are not the standard Americans. These are the winter metal paras.
correct. So yeah, they haven't been on release for quite a while, but all these guys are basically running around wearing proper
Greatcoats.
greatcoats and everything.
Not to mention, like, the scarves wrapped underneath their chins and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
And although airborne, I think these would be usable for standing in as just standard GIs if you just wanted some winterized GIs.
for the most part,
Yeah.
The hero teams are still very obviously airborne in
Oh
their
yeah.
uniform, but the infantry platoons, based on the pictures of Battlefront, they are wearing great coats and mixed in.
Mhm.
So,
But yes, I
but
mean a bit
yes. Oh, and of course, I'm sorry. The objectives and the dice, uh, and
yeah.
tokens. This time with the Ellie Bird, as I lovingly call him.
But it's basically exactly the same formation
It's
as the
the exact
82nd
same
one,
box in the
just with different
well,
metal figures.
because this time, because they used the Bastogne ones, so this time the points come out to
74 points.
barely 3 more points.
Mhm.
Okay. But yes, so ever so slightly more expensive, but you get a 2+ last stand instead.
Yep.
Because how do you improve Fearless Vet Careful? You give them a 2+ last stand.
With those big infantry platoons, getting to that last stand is difficult in itself. But yes, once you get to it, those last 2 stands will stick around.
Those last 2 stands are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I assume the applicable cards will still be in. Battlefront hasn't put out the nice, lovely article that tells us everything that's in there.
Yeah, I can't quite squint enough to see what's in there. I mean, it's all the other ones had an asterisk next to them, and the Lipton and Spears both have an asterisk next to them, which I assume means
I know they
they're
in
command
fact have
cards.
cards,
Yeah,
yes. So I assume those cards come in there.
yeah, I think so. I think that's what it's showing. Yeah. I mean, if the 80 seconds are solid starter, so's this. More so because you're getting some metal figures that haven't been out for ages and are really characterful looking models as well.
Yes, and of course we cannot possibly stick this in by 2 because no one needs needs 4 platoons of paras.
No, not if you're going to sit on this and hope it appreciates in value. So get it
All
in
right,
before
and
the
then
tariffs come in. Yes. Um,
and and then that leads us to our final one for this episode, the 26 Volks Grenadiers,
the only non-allied box. Yes.
the only non-allied box. So in this one,
Mhm.
you get your HQ, you get the Volksgren Assault Platoon, you get a Volks Grenadier Rifle Platoon, 4 HMGs, 6 8mm mortars, 4 12mm mortars, 4 of the 7.5 infantry guns, 4 of the 7.5 tank hunters, and the Volksgren Scout Platoon. On top of that, you get Moldenhauer, the Destroyed Panther, and the Destroyed Easy 8, plus tokens and dice. Only one special boy in this one.
Yes, there's a named character, isn't there? If I remember rightly.
Yes, Moldenhauer.
hmm
Does he have a card?
I think so. I think he does. Just try to bring up the picture, see it again. Like I say, I haven't made it easy because I haven't put a spotlight for these ones. So it's a lot harder for us to work out what's in them compared to the others.
Moldenhauer does in fact have a card.
Yes, it's got an asterisk next to it, hasn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
All of those units are information as well, which is also worth pointing out.
Yes, and as put on the back of the box, they are 58 points.
Yep.
That is the standard Volksgren. They will cost more points if you decide to use the veteran Volks Grenadier cards.
It's about 95 points, I think, is what Eddie said, because he's done sums on it.
Well, it's an extra 4 for the assault, 3 for the rifle platoon. So that's 7. 4 for the mortars, 4 for the machine guns, 5 for the big mortars, 5 for the infantry guns, and then another 5 for the tank hunters. So that's what, 5,
Scraps in
10,
again.
15, let's say 23. That's an extra 30 points. So
Yeah.
a hair under 90 points, which is a pretty reasonable way to stretch out a formation,
Yeah.
especially if you're getting started. These are also metal winterized miniatures that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Really nice figures. I am so tempted by this box. It's unbelievable. It's also, I mean, we look at composition. You've got 3 barrage templates in that formation for the 2 mortars and the one and their infantry guns. You've got 2 sets of anti-tank from the infantry guns and the Pack 40s, because the infantry guns are still anti-tank 10, which is against a Sherman, okay. Obviously,
Unless you
more
run into a
Panzerfaust
jumbo,
you
and
can
then you're gonna be
shake
sad.
at.
Yes, so many Panzerfausts. I think I forgot to include the veteran scouts. That takes it up to an even 90 points, actually.
And the
So,
veteran scouts, I've never been a big fan of foot march scouts outside the Soviets, but you could use those as an understrength assault, second assault platoon, which you can have in formation.
yes, because you can give them the assault rifles.
And another thing you can do is also the machine guns. The actual platoons can have a machine gun in formation, so you could do a 2-gun HMG platoon and have a HMG each in the 2 infantry platoons.
Yes, the infantry platoons are just assault rifles or machine gun rifle teams with some
Yeah.
Panzerschrecks and Panzerfaust, of course. Everything has a Guerrillian Panzerfausts.
I think they're limited to in those ones, but also you can have 2 up to 2 Panzerschreck teams, which I think both, you have 4 Panzerschreck teams in the box, which is really nice.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, if you go the reluctant train version, you've got a decent whack of points to throw in some SS King Tigers or some,
Or, you go full on in theme and you add some Brigade Panthers.
or stick to the Volks and have the Volks, Stugs, or Hetzers, and then back them up with some.
Plenty to go.
Yep, lots of options for that force.
And obviously, if you just want some really cool, winterized German infantry, you could probably get away with running them as Panzergrens as well. Actually, no, because they don't get the assault rifles. They're just MG teams, so
Yeah,
the equipment just doesn't quite line up
isn't quite
right.
worth doing Panzersturm either. You're right. Yeah.
What about the brigade infantry? That's assault rifle infantry, but they have nothing to use other than assault rifles. No,
Yeah.
unfortunate.
No, it's pretty much just a Volks, but which is, like I say, a little characterful list. A little tricky for a beginner, maybe. A little. But you have got quantity, which is always nice. Reluctant trains.
You have German quantity, right? Like saying you have quantity to a German player is different than saying you have quantity to a Soviet player.
Correct.
Because at reluctant trained aggressive, they're gonna die horribly if you're not careful and you don't use smoke properly. So this isn't quite a beginner friendly list, But if you have your heart set on it, or if you are just an experienced player looking to get into Germans, this is an incredibly solid starter.
Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely a solid starter. So yeah, Battlefront have done good. I mean, that's 3 in solid starters, 1 in floor choice, which is still a decent.
Yeah, both sets, both batches of limited edition army runs have mostly been incredibly solid with a couple outliers. Obviously, I can never forgive 21st Panzer for its sins, but uh, if you know what you're doing and you want that, it's a good box. The flawed choice of the 6th Airborne just being kind of locked into only the Frost version of it is a little unfortunate, but
Yeah, if it was easier to get the extra £6 of mortars in and make it up, it would be a solid starter. As it is, it's just that the awkwardness of it makes it really a floor choice.
yes.
But yeah, I mean, Battlefront keep this up, it's off to a good start. So I mean, obviously, Bagration will be the next bunch of starters. I expect we'll see.
We'll see. I was a little disappointed to see that they split up D-Day and Bulge in the compilations, how we only got a D-Day compilation this year.
Yeah, I thought for sure we'd see a Bagration one before the end of the year, but obviously we're running out of year.
Well, we were supposed to get Pacific this year too, so
Well, that's what I think. That's our next subject, isn't it? We are going to move on to what do we think is going to be in their Christmas speech this year? The King's
okay.
speech. It's as Pete gets on
Early
this.
War. Do we think Early War is going to get pushed to 26?
I think it might. I mean, obviously the problem was, but Pacific was meant to get started this year, finish
Months
next
ago,
year, and then
yes.
Pacific, then Early War would start in 25. If Pacific's moving back, then either they make for a very intense release schedule next year, or they push Early War back to 26.
No, Battlefront has done intense release schedules. Remember a couple of years back where we were just getting pelted with Team Yankee books
Yes.
and new army kits and deals and new plastic kits. And Battlefront is not averse to just saying, this is the year we're opening up the plastic faucet.
Yeah. And I mean, Early War was mainly about getting the plastic in range, range in place, which they've been, should in theory been going on. I don't know why Pacific got delayed. And obviously, this logistics thing that might have impacted doing Early War as well.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, I think if Pete goes and says Early War is going to be delayed to 2026, the community is not going to be overly happy considering how long we've been waiting for Early War. If I boot Pacific back because I mean I got a lot more investment in Early War than I have Pacific by a long range.
No, I demand my Anzacs. I demand Anzacs.
It's the only bit about the only bit of Pacific campaign I actually care about is doing the Anzacs and Papua New
Well, of
Guinea.
course, because I want to play Pacific, but I'm never going to play the goddamn Marines.
So right, never forget that the US Army still outnumbered the US Marine Corps in the Pacific campaign by quite a considerable degree in the island hopping.
Well, yes, but nobody remembers that because the Marine Corps have an excellent propaganda department.
Yes.
But jokes aside, I think we're looking at Q4 early war.
Disappointingly, I kind of agree, yes.
I think Pacific will hit February, March, and their whatever like extended release thing that they were planning on, like, okay, then we're gonna wait a little bit and then we're gonna do, Anzacs and then we're gonna, whatever. Because I think like you have to launch Pacific with the US and Japan.
Absolutely. I mean,
And then
that's
you
kind of
can
what they should.
extend out a bit and then release the Anzacs and that other stuff. I think whatever gap they were planning for that is going to get compressed.
Mhm.
And I think they're really going to push to get early war out by November, December 25.
Yeah. I mean,
Like there's still a very real chance early war slips to January, February 26, but I think Battlefront's going to try really hard to get it out by end of year 25.
yeah. I mean, if what we knew at 25 was what had been hinted was obviously the early war. There's one Team Yankee book in the IDF, so where that sits is going to be another question.
I still don't know why they announced IDF and not just Oil Wars 2.
Yeah, yeah. Why limit yourself to one force? Especially because it's not like
It's
I'm
not that big
struggling
a
to think what
range
other
on its
there could
own.
be two extra tank formations in with the actual M48s and the
Yeah, because they
Centurions.
released the Blazers as a online
Correct, and
thing when that
and the
Marine kit
Shoats
came
as
out.
well. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, the other thing they might throw in is there's been rumors of Magak freeze as well. But all right, so you got three extra tank formations. It's not really enough to take up a whole book with one
A whole
force.
book on its own, like I don't know.
Yeah,
Also,
but
I
then
like to think that Battlefront has learned their lesson from the disaster of the Warsaw Pact launch. We'll see.
we'll see, we'll see. But on the other hand, maybe the plan was for next year to do two Team Yankee releases, the IDF being one, and then a sort of the rest of the forces from all the wars as a separate book later in the year. You know, we just didn't see that far in 25 to know what's coming. So I hold out hope having stuff like Iraqis in BMP2s and Iranians were captured, you know, with M48 units as well as M60s. But we'll see.
Yeah,
And Syrian
I'm gonna main
T-72Bs.
only for the Syrians. Uh, I'm gonna hold out hope that we get a full proper sequel to the Oil Wars books where we bring the Middle East uh modernized into Team Yankee proper.
Hmm.
More French stuff for the Iraqis. You know, the Syrians will actually be a real part of the section and just play the Iraqis but don't use the French stuff. Hopefully they'll be fleshed out properly.
Yeah, because like I mean, this is before when they had proper T-72s as well as the export models. And if you're going to
Yes.
start saying, if you're going to go with the Team Yankee universe and maybe being a favored client state in the Middle East, they would get T-72Bs. So
Yes.
there's been one of those bits of speculation. I just like the
Maybe we
idea
can
of,
get some chieftains for the Jordanians.
that's what I'm saying. But there's enough classic kits now. The Jordanians surely get a looking at being a faction. Whereas, like, what are the Jordanians doing? Just standing there awkwardly, not showing, not really wanting to go third time versus Israel, but kind of having to just to show solidarity. Is that?
Yeah, Jordan, geopolitically very precarious position.
Mhm. Very Western leadership and a very pro-Arab population means that you're
Yes.
always on a knife edge to try to navigate that one. But
And then
like again, they got
let
a
me
really
see. Do
cool
we
mix of
think that
kit. So as a
do we think
force,
that they'll bring Egypt in
Egypt would
or
be interesting, but and again, it'd be interesting because obviously this is post Camp David, so they're kind of friendly to the Israelis. Is probably pushing it, but certainly not no, antagonistic as they were. But again, you'd have an interesting mix of equipment then because they were being re-equipped by the Americans as part of the Camp
yes.
David
So maybe
agreement.
some M60s, maybe baseline M1s.
Yeah, because obviously in real life they did get them, but obviously a much later time frame. But yeah, Australians have
Again,
theirs early again. So
Team
yeah,
Yankee has totally like, accelerated all the
yeah.
doomsday timelines here.
Apparently, Detroit is running flat out, making M1s for everyone. It's like M4s of World War II somehow, despite all the advanced electronics. Um, but yeah, so there's a lot they could do. And that's always been my gripe. Gripe's pushing it. But gripe with Battlefront is there's lots you could do with Team Yankee. They don't quite seem to be interested in pushing it as much as I am. It's like, why have we not done anything in the Far East yet? There's so much we do in the Far East. Well, we did nothing with the southern front in Europe with Turkey. You got Greece, Turkey versus Bulgaria, Romania. There's lots of things they could be like
Oh,
you can
oh
do.
God, that's right. The Balkans. The Balkans are still.
Oh, the Balkans, yeah, you could throw in Yugoslavia and Albania into the mix. Rock up with some
Uh,
MiG-15s versus they're always high end like tornadoes and
and,
F-16s.
and not to mention, of course, Southeast Asia, Japan, China,
Yeah,
lots of places to go for Team Yankee.
I mean, like I said,
The
the
sky
Korean
is
Peninsula just opens up
yes.
a whole front there. And you could even have China as a wild card. You know, do you have them as the pro-Western thing of the late 80s, or do you have them sitting the fence and seeing which side's winning and then throw it out in that way? So
I would hazard a guess that uh because of how like accelerationist that the Team Yankee timeline has gone on.
Mhm.
I imagine CETO and NATO would have much more aggressive responses because I think like North Korea is a lock for the pack side.
Mhm.
And so, if you write the fiction, and this is all pie in the sky, I'm talking out of my butt here, of NATO decides that they're going to first strike North Korea, China will not look kindly upon that kind of aggression right on
No.
their border. So I think that would drag them into the Soviet aligned. I think what could be really interesting is because with the NATO side, you have so many like forces that are like, oh well, if you have the Australians, you can take some of the Brits, and if
Mhm.
you're with these guys, you can bring the West Germans can have some certain American stuff. If you bring China into the pact side of the red blue conflict here, now you can do those kinds of things because right now it's Soviet and Warsaw Pact and like just run a formation of whatever. Here you might be able to bring in like very specific units and like tailor in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's lots you could do with it if they're
Yeah.
willing to try and push
The
it.
design space of Team Yankee is really full of potential.
Mhm.
And I know they'll never agree to it, but if we could get like Phil Yates on here to just like discuss pie in the sky Team Yankee like design space,
Mhm.
that would be a really cool. But I think we've accused them of drinking on the job too many times for that to ever happen.
I think we get a lot of carry across in the podcast too, which is far, far worse than drinking the job.
I try and be fair to Battlefront, but
Oh,
sometimes they just leave my head scratching here.
well, is the thing. It's always the. It's just trying. We don't know the whole. It's a whole bunch of finance stuff you have to worry about. They must have a certain amount of market analysis to what the market
Right.
buys, what they think. Sure, the market says we want this. All right, we've given you it. How many actually bought it? Two people. It's like okay, well, obviously you didn't want it as much as you said you did.
Yeah,
I
fair,
remember
fair.
Pacific the first time round suffered from that. It was Pacific, was Pacific. Here it is. No crickets and buying it. Mainly because they didn't get the cool stuff of doing the British and that kind of thing. But British Empire, doing the Burma and Papua New Guinea is what we're really after. Um,
Yeah, I'm sure like that's also a part of it is like how do you produce the varied Commonwealth forces that you would want to depict? How do you
yeah.
portray the sepoys and the Sikhs
Hmm.
and the Punjab divisions and the Australians and the New Zealanders and New Guinea and
Yeah.
the various forces? Like you can't model all those miniatures. It's not financially feasible.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, once upon a time, Battlefront would have tried, but I think they've learned their lesson from having, shops don't want to have wall-to-wall blisters, which is where they were getting to the version 3 days. On the other hand, obviously they've invested a lot in trying to find a better supply chain for plastics. We've seen with the Team Yankee R plastics.
Yes.
Um, I think that trying to sort out how you do infantry in a world where metal is getting more and more expensive for both raw material and metal figures, but also tooling for plastic figures,
Yes.
has been, I think, that's why we see stuff like Sinocast trying to come in, that kind of thing. I
And
think
I
now
don't
they've
hate Sinocast, to be fair.
the second generation of Sinocast was a lot better than the first generation.
Yes.
It's still not as good as hard plastics. I think that's the problem you get is the comparison with that. But it's
I
not
mean,
bad. I mean, I've had Sinocast figures before, and no issue with them really from what I had.
and of course we designed our own Team Yankee starters a couple episodes ago,
We did, yes.
and that was definitely not as easy as I thought it would. I'm like, how do I keep costs down but
Hmm.
give the Zenesequab a game in? Like,
Exactly. Try and keep the sprue count to roughly the same sprue count as the existing boxes. I mean, we weren't far off in our prediction, though, were
we
we?
were not that far
No, we
off.
were pretty good. I'm proud to say.
Obvious choices are obvious, but yes,
Oh, another thing for Pete's thing is announcing the new website for the second time. Let's see if that comes. Spent all year
uh,
waiting for this new website to appear, and we're still very much not there.
yeah.
I'm wondering if like the only sort of net coder in New Zealand's told no, you can't. We want it working things over Netscape. And they have to go back to the drawing board to try and. But yeah, so I'm interested to see what it comes up with. It's usually some interesting revelations. I think obviously some of it has been, there's been little mini updates on some of the other web channels. Frustratingly, not us. Where they go through and show what's, he talks to them and says what's coming, that kind of thing, especially in line with the Clash of Steel releases. That's another thing. So next year, I'm sure there'll be a third wave of Clash of Steel. We must be getting towards the 60s at that point. So that might throw some interesting new plastics in as well.
Do we think that we're not going to get Checkpoint Charlie at this point?
I mean,
that Clash of Steel is filling that niche.
I don't think so.
60s.
Because you look at, if anything, Late War Leviathans gave me more hope of Clash of Steel coming because they look like they're prepared to start doing 1950 style infantry units, that kind of thing. So I think there's still going to be a potential here for a 1960s Checkpoint Charlie.
Yeah,
to align with Nam and Favor Nation.
Every time we bring up Late War Leviathans, though, I'm just sitting here being like, oh, 2 resonant metal BTR 152s. I just want to put my East Germans in them, Battlefront, please.
Classic BTR 152 when, yes.
I think about it. Late War Leviathans, Fate of a Nation, Checkpoint Charlie, Warsaw Pact. You could use that plastic. I know. It's just.
Well, it's
they
a plastic.
Probably
it's a
ran
plastic
the numbers.
It's a plastic carnation argument. Why is there no plastic carnation? Everyone we know. Is there a Warsaw Pact player doesn't have at least one unit of carnations?
No, it's in literally every packed formation. It's
and if
it's an auto include.
Yeah,
it's
and
the
if it was
first
a
thing
cheap
you put in the box.
Yeah, if you can get a plastic carnation, would you add another unit in? Absolutely, because I can have my divisional fire support as well. So I think it's like, why is there no plastic carnations? Plastic M109, but the carnation appears just as many places. So yeah, there's lots of things that feel like it should be plastic.
I think the M109 got plastic because there's like a few very distinct variants used between the various NATO forces, and every packed force just used the exact same carnation. Would be my bet to hazard in that.
That makes it easier. So that's a much lower, more count plastic kit at that point. But yes, it's one of those life mysteries. I feel like it should be a plastic carnation. But yeah, we'll see. So maybe that'll be announced on Pete's things. We'll find out. I mean, we know some of the stuff that's sort of like 60-ish for Clash of Steel, like the early version of the Leopard, without all the extra armor on that you get on the Team Yankee version, the Leopard 1.
Is that the version that they're putting out for World of Tanks, or is that just the Team Yankee sprue?
So I think so. Recently for the World of Tanks, it's basically an early production Leopard, where it's just the rounded cast turret without the extra armor plates on that the current plastic kit builds. I think it's additional sprue.
The current plastic build builds both versions, doesn't it?
The current plastic one builds the welded hull, and it builds the up armored cast hull. It doesn't build the original unup armored cast hull, cast turret. Sorry.
Okay.
And that was what New World Tanks kit basically adds, a unup armored cast turret. So a very early production.
Another point towards Checkpoint Charlie, I suppose.
Yeah. I think so. Plus, like I say, we now have the plastic M48s you kind of needed for it. The plastic Centurion you kind of needed for it.
Yeah.
M113s and M60s and Chieftains and T64s and T62s, T55s all around already. But you haven't got
another
plastic
game
BTR.
Where I can just bring out the horde of T62s. Excellent.
Well, not quite a horde, but yes, there's only with Fate of Nation you get quite a few of them. But yes, it's not as big a horde as say in Team Yankee. But...
Right, but that just means I can run a maxed out battalion at that point. If I ran the horde in a little bit, but still, yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of the Chieftain, the T64 being the super tank of this period, basically. Being brand new models, the 120mm guns. Lots of extra armor, being a King Tiger of the sort of Checkpoint Charlie universe, but and just as reliable.
So, do we expect any kind of surprises from Pete this year? Because I mean, we talked about Pacific and Early War being pushed down the line, of course.
Yeah.
New website. Do we think this is the year we get the FOAN re-release? Because there was no big re-release this year. Because last year was Great War in Nam.
Yeah, and Fate of Nation got conspicuously skipped off. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see him, like you say, re-release Foreign with and incorporate in the plastics of the Centurion and the M48.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm going to stick to my guns from last year, and that we're not going to get the FOAN re-release until we get much closer to the Oil Wars 2 book, because then they can just, the infantry doesn't change. You can just print off a bit more of the infantry and be like, here you go for both books, the same infantry.
yeah,
We
because
changed the
unfortunately,
box, but
the IDF infantry changes a lot, so that's the problem. You can't use Foreign Israeli infantry for.
sure. But for the forces of the Middle East, I think that uniform is damn near close. And AKs
AK-47
are
RPG is a
AKs.
timeless classic.
Yes, weird how those two particular weapon system have stood the test
Yeah.
of time.
And again, big case there for a plastic, what basically amounts to a short sleeve order Warsaw Pact guy with AK-47, that kind of thing. Because you use it for the Cubans, you'd use it in Foan, you use it for the Arab nation armies. You'll use it for Angola and Cuba in Africa if Pete ever gets his wish of bush wars. It's a, you know, it's a
Wait, has Pete said he wants to do Bush Wars?
you say, well, that's why the Centurion appeared. Everyone, I suspected when the Centurion appeared, I thought that's for sure going to be the setup for doing South Africa versus Cuba and that kind of thing, the Bush Wars. But he keeps talking
That'd be
about
so
it.
cool. Start a Cuban army, damn.
Well, yeah, and you could do, and if he could use it for both Red Dawn and
I
for
could use it for
Angola,
Red Dawn, yeah.
yeah. That's what I
The
said.
Cuban
When
Red Dawn Force is just such comedy to me. It really is. Do you want SU-100s?
I am surprised we didn't get reservists in T-34-85s and that running around, but yes, that's
I think they were properly concerned of if we put they were afraid of the FOAN effect of putting T-34-85s into Team Yankee, which I think is fair.
and having someone like Eddie just buy as many T-34-85s as they couldn't just break the game. Yes.
Battlefront makes the perfect box. They sell 21 T-34-85s in a box.
Yes, but you're not meant to buy two of them to make an army. Oh, we didn't have it as a buy two option. At that point, it becomes a buy two option.
I wanted it as a buy two option, but you didn't let me.
Only if you did your green ones and here's your whitewash ones that become a buy two box.
You have your winter ones and you have your summer offensive ones.
Yeah, you can't use the same forces in different periods. Use the right armor for the right conditions. But yes, I mean, I'd like to think there's going to be a bit more Team Yankee, but I suspect if it gets crowded with both Pacific
Early
and
War, Pacific.
Early War, they'll take priority over Team Yankee.
I'm hoping at the very least we get like a little Team Yankee something, if that's the case, like a Red Dawn-esque
for a
book.
treat.
Because like, what did Red Dawn added? It added actually no, it added the VDV formation. That was actually quite a big thing. But like, added the Cubans, which was recycling a bunch of stuff,
which no one was asking for.
But also, you did Red Dawn. You kind of need the Cuban paratroopers.
Yeah. Which
I'm
weren't
sorry,
in there.
Josh Peck,
There's no Cuban
more than one of
paratroops
those
in that
movies.
book.
They weren't the paratroopers, I know.
That's the frustrating thing. Why guys not put the paratroops in? And it set up the Canadians as well for the Freight of the Free Nations book as well. So, or NATO.
Sure. But like, what actually came in is they added a whole new formation for the Soviets. They added a model reuse outlet through the Cubans, and they added the militia and the comedy pickup trucks for the Americans. So like, I would like, if we're not getting big, and maybe that's what the IDF book is going to be, then is just like, here's a little something for Team Yankee to remind you that we still in fact support this game.
So one thing I do think in the IDF book, and mainly because obviously it got released for the Desert Storm book, is how in the Warsaw Pact book at the back there was in the Soviet bit for adding the Su-22s and the T-72Bs in for the Soviets, and previously in the Red Dawn book, you had the T-62M for the Soviets in as well. I'd like to see in the IDF book, one of the books had T-62Ms for Soviets in the back of one of the other things. I can't remember which book it was in. So a book put the T-62M in first. Maybe it was in Oil Wars. Was it in Oil Wars? He says yes, it was in Oil Wars, way back in version 1. So what I like to think is maybe the IDF book is going to have the M60 era for the US Marine Corps, because it has to appear somewhere. It's already in the back of the, it's in the on the web and in the actual box set, but also maybe in M48.
I have my Red Dawn book.
Yes, that has, like I say, that has the T-72B and the Su-17 and the Su-17 for the Soviets.
Yeah.
The T-62M definitely comes in all wars. So just have a quick look. So maybe put in National Guard M48 list in for the US. That'd be quite cool. Making in fact use of the fact there's an M48 kit. Have some trucked infantry rather than M113 infantry. M48s. Information Sergeant Yorks, because the Sergeant Yorks were in National Guard use, so.
Finally, it's time for the Sergeant York to shine.
Hasn't done too bad in Team Yankee, better than it should do, that's for sure. So yeah, I think the IDF book could be interesting for what it might do for throwing extra US stuff in as a sort of back of the book thing, in much the same way as all wars and Warsaw Pact did.
Yeah, so I mean, I remain forever hopeful on Team Yankee.
It needs a bit more love. Team Yankee needs a little bit more love. I'm hoping that, like I say, Clash of Steel then sort of drives that a bit. Could be good for something, right?
I mean, we can only hope.
I mean, I was saying the other day, when it gets to, I'd like to see him do a Clash of Steel, but throwing in stuff like the Arab-Israeli wars, because I think they could do some very good big tank battles with like mass T-55s and IS-3s versus Shoats and M48s.
Yeah, that is.
Like I say, I was doing a Clash of Steel for World War II by doing, like I say, big tank battles in World War II with Clash of Steel rules. There's lots you can do with Clash of Steel that is a bit more grounded and a bit more useful as a game. But yeah,
I still haven't had a chance to play.
it's worth play. I say I had fun with it. I'm not sure how much it would hold my interest in a long-term game, but
My local scene is just not concerned or care about it. But
be the change, Mike. Be the change.
No, I'm okay. I'm still working through my immense backlog of stuff here. I still have a World War II Soviet stuff that I have so many like Zis guns and like the various tank hunters and stuff that I haven't done anything with.
Yeah.
I still have like some BMDs, some Nonas. I've got a lot of stuff.
I need to do my VDV as well. I don't think when I get my next Desert Storm stuff done, the VDV will be next.
I never got my freaking VDV box. Battlefront re-release the VDV box, please. I need one, please.
Plastic VDV when?
Oh, look. I'm under no illusions of plastic VDV. I just want the starter army released again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. It was a good deal. Yeah, even if you don't put the objective and the special figures in, just release a box with the rest of the stuff in. Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and start going piecemeal at it. Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how our predictions hold up. I'm sure it'll be like a week away or so before Pete releases the Christmas thing. It's usually like the second or third week of December. I seem cool.
Well, yeah, because they shut down the last couple weeks for the holidays. So I imagine anytime now, Pete's gonna put out his Christmas video, and we will all watch with bated breath as they announce another game.
Yes.
That's my sarcastic psychic prediction, is that actually he's announcing a whole new game this year.
I'll tell you what, my prediction, Clash of Aluminium. It's where you get all the aircraft figures and start doing the airplane game of the aircraft figures. There you go. You heard it first.
Oh, God. No, my prediction is Bush Wars. Now that we've talked about it, it's Cuba and South Africa. We're going at it. I'm excited for the Nelson Mandela warrior team.
Yeah, but there are no good guys in this forces in this fight. Everyone's oh dear, but I'm sure it'll be fun. It can't be way worse than the IDF, right?
Oh, Battlefront.
Uh,
I want you to be better
it's
because I
fine.
care, Battlefront.
It's the 80s. It's very different. They were just doing stuff like invading Lebanon. Wait,
Please stop blowing up Lebanon. Lebanon doesn't deserve this.
we're just sitting here. You've got the misfortune of being between Syria and Israel.
Yeah.
Well, in between them, just kind of adjacent to. Oh dear. Anyway, Middle East politics is a big, hairy subject with best avoided. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, that's probably gonna be the last episode before Christmas, unless we can squeeze in the
Unless some miracle happens.
unless somehow we do find some time to do the infantry fighting vehicle tier list we keep talking about.
Or the
So
aircraft one we keep talking
or
about.
the aircraft, we'll get Duncan on for the aircraft one. Just to spite Eddie for being the
We've
aircraft person, get
been
Duncan on.
absolutely been saying this for over a year that we're gonna get Duncan on for the aircraft episode.
He's a very hard man to actually get the time in his calendar. He's very busy. But yes.
I think we can find an adequate amount of bait to put underneath a box with a stick.
We're gonna do a Team Yankee World War II. I can't remember now which ones we're even gonna do.
Sorry, what?
Well, we did the Team Yankee aircraft for the World War II aircraft. World War II aircraft, wasn't it? It was.
We had talked about making sure we combine mid and late war, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna do the numbers and see just how many aircraft there are, and maybe we just do it all at once. There's not
Combined.
that much aircraft.
Yeah, if you don't kind of include helicopters, I think yeah, it's only about 3 or 4 in Team Yankee. It's more than 3 or 4. A lot more than three or
There's
four.
there's there's so many more than that. I don't know. We'll do the numbers.
It's like trying to
Uh,
count Pokemon. They keep adding extra ones. Anyway, as always, thanks for listening to us.
yes. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, complain about my camera in the comments. I have ordered a new one. I have in fact ordered a new camera. Uh, as always, YouTube is holding my family hostage. I'm sustained by the comments and engagement of strangers on the internet. And what was that other joke I normally say? It doesn't really matter. Hypnotone on screen, please. Bye.
Bye.
Big sad.
Mhm.
Oh, I had the weirdest day at work yesterday. I got a call from my boss, and he's like, "You got to get down to engineering. There's a little bit of an emergency." I'm like, "An emergency? Like in engineering? Okay, weird. What is like the power out? Is there like something?" He's like, "No, there's a possum. You got to go get it." And I'm like, "Excuse me? I'm an electrician. I'm not an animal."